Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Monetize Your Mental Capital. I have Bill Jacoby here, and we are super excited. Bill and I adding just a little bit before we started recording and talking about his past companies he started. We're going to dive right in around monetizing those intangibles and some of the things we learned. Bill, tell us who you are. Why should these individuals who are listening believe that you have some know here that might help them level up the monetization strategies around intangible revenue streams?
I've had 4 careers, but never had a job. And I was able to do that because, as I worked in different disciplines, I saw early on that everybody was going this way and there's more efficiencies, and looking at things from a different angle can get better results. So having switched careers and having of taking that risk and jumping into something you knew nothing about, but then rising to the top of that discipline or whatever channel I was in, web hosting. I was in the restaurant business, ran night dollar restaurants, and vice president of companies with restaurants. So from a very early age, I was managing P&Ls, profit loss, and looking at numbers and just breaking down, how to get the most efficient, cost-effective way. I have a master's certificate in project management and helped online trading project, which when they went online, it was an $88 million project. We built it in 133 days. And so along the way, every time I've jumped into businesses, taking experiences from the past, I've been able to look to the future and apply that knowledge to see how to go about, not just doing what everybody else is doing, but being ahead of the pack of where people are going to be tomorrow.
Love that. So obviously you've got some experience under your belt. Tell us, you mentioned I've never had a job. As you kind of lean into that, let's go back to the time, your teenage years, even up into your late teens, early 20s, as you began to look at the world and see what was out. What did you do to make money? What was the beginning? What did it look like for you?
I worked at 13 in a drugstore, so I could start working, doing odd jobs and everything else in a grocery store scene. Had to join the union, but I didn't because I wanted to work more hours and go on strike. At that early age, I was able to have a different outlook on life, being part of all that dynamic. And then going to college for engineering after the summertime, the girls, swimming pools, that studying doesn't work that well. After a year in engineering, going into hotel restaurant management, because people are the key to any business and dealing with people. Engineering is very critical and analytical, black and white. And in business, it's all about relationships and networking and everything else. So having gone to the restaurant career path and coming out and working for several major chains, just opening up different restaurants.
So, okay, tell me, as you began, clear down from the odd jobs at the drugstore all the way up through, rising in your different careers with the restaurants. When did you have that, as they say in the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, when did you have entrepreneurial seizure when you were like, wait a minute, I have learned here that I could probably do this on my own. I could probably do this and not have somebody else have an 8-5 on me that, I have to go in and keep pushing in.
Probably in my early 20s, when I was, at 22, 23, I was running a $3.5 million business and managing the P&L and just seeing that because these pieces were in place, you could just interchange the parts, but there was always room for improvement. The people were part of that, but how you treated people to get that extra productivity or retention, lower your cost, and that kind of observations.
I love that. So early 20s, managing all of that, and you were doing that for someone else at that point, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it dawned on you like, wait a minute, there's pieces here that I understand that I could do this on my own. What did you just monetize? What piece of knowledge were you like, you know what, I'm going to go take this on and do consulting, or what was it that you forayed into?
Well, at the time, I had passion. I grew up at college when the clubs scene was in, and it was at the end of discos, but people were changing from live bands to entertainment and DJs. So I was able to monetize that in a restaurant chains to take underperforming units and add that element of nightlife to double the profits by taking a whole different segment of adding to the business.
Interesting. And did you do that for your other job, or did you to take a cut of that business, or what did that look like?
For three, I went out in '84 for the Olympics out in LA. The Hula Hands at the time had one of the hottest bars with a DJ out there. I opened one for Bennigan's out in Indiana. Took one of the most underperforming, from $12,000, $13,000 a week business to 50.
Wow.
And I was number 2 in profits and 14th in sales. So after I did that for like 4 years, I raised $500,000 and saw a liquor license ad in a newspaper, purchased it for $5,000 on my credit card, raised $500,000 and borrowed $500,000, opened my own at 29 years old, opened up my first restaurant, 6,000 square foot restaurant, 3,000 square foot nightclub. And we did $0.5 million the first year.
Beautiful. So you went out and said, you know what? I'm going to take the knowledge I have in running these restaurants and I'm going to build my own restaurant. So you went and raised that cash and you monetized some of that mental capital and dug into that, built a restaurant and continued on. Was there a time when you decided, you know what? I think it's time to take this knowledge and monetize it into a knowledge-based product? I think where you were doing consulting or or a SaaS product. What? Tell me about the rest of your journey.
Well, from there, business having worked for corporates where everything's organized and organized. I went to work back into after I started another restaurant. After I had partners, I started another restaurant, but it had 2 bad winters and put me out of business. And I needed a career change. Working to buy out my business partner, I went to work at Bell Atlantic Network Integration because I love technology and went there from 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock at night, went to the restaurant from 6 to 1.
Oof.
And while there, met 2 guys and, started out in an inside sales position. And then literally within 6 months, I was at another project. We wired 5,000 Cat 5 wire, drops with a GUI for 100 applications in 5 hospitals. So working in that environment, I just said, I got to get out of that service industry and get into the tech business. And from there, I met 2 gentlemen at lunch every day. We started a business on the side that we did $1 million business, wiring an office building and putting in routers and switches for 3 months. And that took me to the web hosting world.
So wait, hold on. You're at it was Bell
Network Integration.
Okay, Bell Atlantic Network Integration, and you decided, okay, wait a minute, I know how to network this crap, and the 3 of you were like, wait a minute, we could get paid to do that ourselves, and so you did this kind of side gig, and you made $1 million on it in like 3 months.
It was $1 million project.
$1 million project.
The cost was half, but it was a lot of money for 2 months' work. So having the ability to see that and taking that chance. The other gentleman I was with had tech background experience. One thing about the restaurant business is you have to do every job in the business. So it teaches you that you're not in one lane. Like most people in business are stuck in 1 or 2 lanes.
Interesting.
And so once you can you're not afraid to drift over to 2 or 3 lanes and do every job. You convince it's not hard. It's you've never done it before.
Yeah. So you leaned into that fear. What questions were you at? Like what made you guys realize as you're going to lunch and you're realizing, holy crap, we have a service we could sell to someone else? What was it that made you realize, like, oh my goodness, like this is something that's monetizable? What do you think was it that dawned on you that could be an opportunity?
It's having the knowledge of where things were headed, being on the ground floor and seeing technology. I remember being around the Netscape the first browser, came on board, and there's 6 of us looking at it and seeing where things were going from the telephone world, from being in, dial up to, wired access, and then not even, people not even anticipating where things were headed. So being a risk taker and getting out ahead of that, is.
Wow. So what questions, let's say I'm an Amazon seller, or an e-commerce seller, and I'm currently selling electronics on Amazon, or whatever I'm selling, toys. As I'm selling these things, what questions should I be asking myself to help me identify which pieces of knowledge I might have that could be monetized? What questions do you think they should be asking themselves?
So I get contacted by sellers, and they have all these gurus telling them you should be going into this or selling this or that. And anything that you do, you need to, the product. People that are successful are passionate about what they do. And if you love what you do, the money will follow. So most people think that a widget is a widget, and if I just put it out there, it's going to sell, right? And with so many other people, what's your unique selling proposition? What makes you different? And most companies can just be simple customer service. On Amazon, it's not as easy because everybody's more price oriented, but is differentiating yourself and looking for trends ahead of, not just being a follower, but doing research and looking where things are going to be tomorrow.
So based on what I was a seller and I heard you say that, I would be asking myself, what lights me up? What gets me super excited? What do I love doing? And then what's out there that has demand? What looks like there's going to be a trend where, oh man, everybody's going to need this type of listing optimization, or, you find something unique about packaging or different pieces, some unique part of your business that you've done really well that lights you up. That sounds like a category of something that you might want to consider.
Certainly. I have 21-year-old guys or 22-year-old guys calling me asking about baby carriers. And I said, do you have babies? Have you held babies, or have any relatives, have kids? No. Why would you even want to get into that product line when you have no experience with it? And because someone's telling you that there's a lot of opportunity there, when if you look at statistics and birth rates are down, those categories are drying up. I mean, there's less births, being happening. So people don't see the whole story. They're not doing the research. Look at where things are going to be in a year from now or 2 years from now. It's better to look at packaging, because with all the packaging walls of footprints of packaging, getting in, thinking outside the box and looking at being the next person. How do we calculate, combat packaging, less packaging, or economizing packaging, so there's less footprint, less taxes that are going to start to be, put into place.
So tell me, what would you say are the biggest roadblocks? Let's fast forward in your career here. So you landed did the hosting business. How did you exit the host world to get over in a little farther down?
Well, hosting business took me. We went employee number 7 in professional service 2000. Ended up flying to California for 2 years, coast to coast, every week. We went from 2 data centers, three acquisitions, 4 stock splits. We had 44 data centers. The big .com crash in 2000.
Yeah.
We starts closing centers. I was a part of a team, went in the Docklands and different countries, shutting down data centers, shipping all the information back. And because of my passion for technology, had the idea to economize. How do we track all these switches, computers, and everything? So I went and convinced the executives to spend $5,000 on a beta program, build a software bar tracking, tagging all the assets, and ship them back to California.
Interesting.
So from that initiative, ended up getting me a leadership award with Cable Wireless, because we saved $21 million of equipment by being able to identify, reuse, and then sell off equipment that we had around the world that people had abandoned or we had bought, and just utilizing that. So that took me to that part of my life. And I was tired of traveling back and forth and wanted to do something different. And my old college roommate, this was 15. I was at 50. So I I saw the trends for high-end baby goods, and my college roommate was at a baby product store. So we started a company called Your Baby, and we ended up launching 5 European brands into the US market. And I actually sold to Amazon $100,000 worth of strollers back in 2004, when they first split from Babies R Us. So we did that until 2008, and the capital requirements are so great. I launched the Beba brand in the U.S., and the container was $250,000, and we privately financed, friends and family and people from tech. So we just couldn't get the financing, and that forced me to sell that company to another company where I was vice president of operations for 2 years. So I got to see 4 other brands and work in the operations part of it, and that's when the compliance component came into place. So I took my experience and said, I can look at this area, and this is with new laws and new regulations, how to optimize that. So after 2 years of my contract, I started a consulting business and been helping companies for the last 13 years, use
compliance, right?
In product safety compliance. And I've helped, from Gap Inc., we did visions, with a 2% company. I did restaurant companies, startup companies. So doing worldwide compliance took me to the next aha moment, is like, how do we use technology to streamline operations to make it more efficient? So we take the man hours down and try to automate some of the information that's needed.
And as you were digging in on that, and you were looking at, okay, I'm going to start this consulting business, my contract is up, you could see, man, there's a lot of people who need help with this. And wow, I know what I'm doing here. And me up. It sounds like.
I told my wife that at the time I was going through a divorce, I told her when I first met her that I'm doing something new, but in 10 years, I'm going to master this, but I'll be known for this, for all the things I've done in my life, all the startups and everything else. And ironically, it took me 8 years to get at a pinnacle for consulting, where I was one of the 3 product safety coordinators working with the Justice Department to handle consent decrees for the CPSC and Justice Department. So getting that knowledge of understanding, they had to hire me as a proxy to manage their compliance program, oversee it for 2 years. And that experience led me to, 10 years ago, I launched a beta for my software program. I was too late to the game, but working with clients over 10 years, I used that knowledge to build my current software because after COVID, everything changed. Yeah. And I saw the opportunity to pivot and make a better mousetrap, for the way the future, of e-commerce and everything was happening.
Okay. Love that. So what were the biggest roadblocks you saw in your career as you started this consulting business, clear back to when you did the hospital project, and everywhere in between, as you sold your knowledge across these different pieces and created these different knowledge-based products? What was the biggest roadblock when it came to monetizing the different knowledge-based products?
The difficult thing for people is at any given time, if you have children and family, you're constrained by your current factors. Like you have a young family, you have obligations, you have mortgages. You can't take the risk you can when you're single. When you're single, you have the freedom. It's like going to the casino. If you lose it all, go start again tomorrow. But as you get older and have family, you have college coming, you can take less and less risk. So a lot of people aren't successful because they don't take that plunge. They hate the job. They're too afraid to leave their lane. And that's probably the biggest challenge for people.
And did you overcome that as you looked at, you shifted lanes several times, and it sounds like when you had a family, when you said you were working for the Bell Tech Atlantic, and then you were also working at the restaurant at the same time, and you decided to kind of shift. What gave you the courage to shift and go around in those lanes?
Well, sometimes when it rugs out from under you, like financial, losing a job, or you get a chance to everything. So, financial, the 2000 and I lost $1.2 million, everything's wiped out. You have to start over. It gives you a fresh slate. Previously in a restaurant, a bad winter, banks weren't cooperating. Is like just shut it down and just walk it into a different direction. So a lot of times you have to just close after. You have to put something down to pick something up.
Interesting. I love that phrase right there. I think I'm going to take away from this episode. Sometimes in order to pick something up, you have to put something down. And I've seen that in my life and in my career as well. I've been most recently working at Cellular Labs, and we're building this amazing tool that automates data extraction inside Amazon. And Dean just joined our team as a new founder, and he bought into the company. Um, he forced us to choose a target market and zero in on agencies, and that's saying no to focusing on the e-commerce seller. And there was so much FOMO for me. I was like, fear of missing out. We are going to miss out. Zeroing in like that, saying no to the focus of the e-commerce to the other has opened up totally new doors. Like you said, we set down one and picked something else back up. So sounds like the biggest way you overcome the challenge of fear is not being afraid to let go, because there is a new door that will open. When one door closes, one door opens.
Yeah, just because you do something doesn't mean you should. I'm in a similar situation. I built something today, applies to different scenarios, but it can be seen as scattered, or it can be, you can't fight a war on three fronts, right? It's better to be successful starting out in one area and then move to the next. So it's the same type of scenario. Is when you find that focus for the personas, for the business channel, or the audience you're looking for, that's when you're going to go viral. People are going to start. You're focusing on, instead of being all things to many people.
Yeah. So tell me, okay, let's imagine that you could make a phone call right now, and you could call Bill back when he was just getting ready to $500,000 and borrow the other $500,000 to start that restaurant, and maybe even, you're going to call him while he's the guys, and they're talking about this hospital project that we're getting paid $1 million for, and imagine you could make a phone call back to him to tell him to do something different around building these knowledge-based products, or use his knowledge in a different way. What would you tell him? What would you tell Bill?
I would not sell yourself short. People with the money control your dreams, and in several instances, getting a small piece of a company when other people are controlling it, when you're the impetus and it's your intellectual property and everything else, whether it's a restaurant concept or technology, it's different today than it was yesterday. You can go to have ideas, to go to companies, and they'll help fund and build the software for you, or they see ideas, because everybody's looking for opportunities, but that didn't exist years ago. So you're at the mercy of the people you're dealing with. And so is doing their way or the highway. And then if you have a less controlling interest, you're always going to be not in control. And so you want something that you're willing not to think it through, to say, what if I don't have control? How do I steer this boat?
And I think that's actually a really powerful piece of advice. I too would call Will Christensen from early in my career, and I would say, controlling interest, if you are the impetus behind this business, if you are the passionate one, if you're the one who's going to spend your day in and day out, retain 51%. Like retain controlling interest in that, because that is part of your destiny. That is part of where you go. And I think I'm thinking back to a good friend of mine, Tyler Jeffcoat, and I've heard him say the same thing about his experience. Man, I wish I'd retained. I gave up more than I should have, because really I was the impetus. And I think there are ways. So let's go there for just a second, Bill. Let's say that I'm a young entrepreneur and I'm just starting out, and I'm coming to you and saying, look, I've got these investors. They're willing to do it for me, but want 75% of the company. Is there a way that I could negotiate so that I can get to 51%? Because I can see the numbers. I can see where they're coming from. They want 75%, and I can't seem to find anybody else. How do I negotiate my 51% maybe over time, or what should I do? Or should I just stop and go find a different idea? What would you tell that young entrepreneur?
Don't show all your cards, first and foremost. If you patent your software, or you have the second version or roadmap, if people are excited, don't oversell and try to show the whole deck. Because if the beta works, and if it works well and is missing the people or the wrong people, you still have the cards for the next level, because you already proved the concept.
Interesting. So your advice would go probably ditch those investors because you already shared all the cards to them. Go find other investors and share the first part of it and be willing to give up 75% of the beta version. Because you've then proved out the model and you can say, look, I can take this to the next level, but I'm going to need another 25% or 26% to get to my 51%, or I'm going to go do this on my own.
Sure. And it's people that share vision, because money is money, right? It's a commodity, but people who share your vision, that's the secret sauce. Because, in talk people that are on, like you just brought in, that has a vision for your company. I already realized this, that I can't do this alone. I'm talking to people now to see my vision, and I have a roadmap in my head that no matter, what happens, I'm way ahead, where things are going to be. So having learned that before, I've self-funded all at this point, and it gives me more control going down that path. Yeah. Because either people see it and have that aha moment and want to be on board, or you don't have to oversell or sell your soul.
Well, and I think there's something to be said of finding people like you, Bill, who understand that and understand how important that is. I have a feeling if we were to dig in, there's probably some people you've either invested in or mentored to do the same thing, because you recognize how important it is for that individual to own control of their destiny and look at that. So look for individuals like Bill, like my buddy Brandon Check. That's what he did for me. He helped me cover my dream of creating a company, and he was willing to do it in a way that I didn't have to sell my soul. So 100% look for a mentor or an investor who shares that vision with you.
And you're talking about mental capital. There's so many people out there want to sell you their vision or what their success path is.
Yeah.
And you and I are the type of people, we're looking for people that see where we're headed. Yeah. If you've done it before, you want to go along for the ride and not recreate what you've done before.
Yeah.
Taking that experience and saying, wow, this is it's right, riding waves. Yeah. If you ever boogie board, you're waiting for that perfect wave, and ride that first in your lifetime. I've had successes and failures, but some waves just go 20 feet and you wipe out. Everybody's looking for that long wave that takes you all the way up the shore. And it's exhilarating. Not many people get to do 2 or 3 of those in your life. Yeah. But someone's had an exit and wants to do it again because you miss excitement. Yeah. That's the person I'm looking for, that sees the value of where this could be in the future, because that's the type of passion you need to be really successful.
So we're going to give you about 60 seconds here. We're going to pretend that you walked into the elevator with your ideal customer profile for your software, for the compliance software that completely automates all of those amazing certificates that you've mentioned before. And we're just going to pretend that we've stepped into that elevator, and you got 60 seconds. I'm actually going to time you. I've got my watch here. And you're going to get 60 seconds just basically to do that elevator pitch of like, here's why I and my software are the solution looking for. And then right after that, stay tuned, everybody. Bill is going to share with us any hacks, tips, tricks, or books that he's read recently or used recently that have increased productivity and looked at all. So without further ado, you've got a minute, Bill. Ready, go.
I developed Pro Plus because every Amazon seller and manufacturer, importer compliance documentation is needed for 5 years. In Europe, it's 10 years. And people struggle with where do they get the documentation, especially selling into multiple sales channels. So I launched Comply Pro Plus this year, and is just in a process of launching it formally to the world in December. And this is the only program that helps you manage your brand across all global sales channels, including Amazon. It gives you data for live. You just see a live dashboard of your data. You can manage sales channel requirements. You can manage your relationships with all your clients. Most importantly, I've just about to launch a certificate generator that will able to generate certificates, which will come to play at e-filing in 2025.
Nailed it. Right on. There's your minute. Fantastic. So if you're interested in connecting with Bill on that, right after this, he's going to give you contact information or where you can get with Bill. Tell us about hacks, tips, tricks, or books you've come across recently that you feel like entrepreneurs or those on the knowledge monetization journey should be looking at.
Well, if having spent the last 2 years building every wireframe for this app to save money and to do this. Haven't had time for much pleasure reading, but watching technology within the AI space, taking your ideas and looking parallel to see what's happening in different segments. Why reinvent the wheel? And the more knowledge, the more reading you can look into that space is going to help you. If you have an idea, check it. If people are doing it, ask me, why don't you do this? Because in a year from now, it's going to be done. Why your time with mundane tasks, mundane issues, and focus on things that makes you stand apart. When everybody's running this way, you want to be at the other end, waiting for them to come back.
So, Bill, one question I have is, as busy as you are right now doing all of that wireframing and digging in, how do you stay up on the news? What do you use to stay in touch?
Well, everything from Quora to websites, scanning, because you have to take breaks. You're standing, sitting, you're at your desk from 12 till midnight, 8 in the morning till midnight sometimes. You have to take breaks. You have to do physical exercise every day, but you have to just look in diverse different areas. And so just able to just scan things and look for trends, whether it's newspapers, magazines, online, Wall Street Journal, just read and absorb. Because, the worst thing you can do is stay in a vacuum, especially when you're developing products, because you need to know what's happening around you.
Any apps you'd recommend?
Well, I just found this app, Snagit, which is for wire. Was using Figma for a while, and Snagit is so amazing that it has qualities of Loom. It should cut, paste, and it has scrolling, and it's just like a Swiss Army knife tool that if you're building documentation for wireframes, for just building steps for knowledge bases, because I built the whole knowledge base of annotating step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was able to build, it's interesting, the knowledge base that I built, we get 0 customer supports because the software is so ergonomic and because everything's already there for it. And soon we'll be able to we're using a third-party software. With the knowledge base of the AI, it'll automate that self-service.
I love it.
It's going to take the people aspect out of that, because the downside of customer service is you can't be there every minute. And once you do it right the first time, it's you all the time answering the questions.
Yeah, but the AI can be there all the time. That's awesome. Bill, how do I, if I wanted to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get in touch?
So my email is letstalk@complyproplus.com, and website is complyproplus.com.
Okay.
And you'll find information. We have a page for Amazon sellers, manufacturers. Very exciting year. Like I said, e-filing will come into play. In one of the big hacks is no one knows this, but rulemaking starts in April
next year.
E-filing start in 2025. Every manufacturer importer will have to e-file certificates for importation in the United States. And I'm on the committee with the CPSC and the Customs Border Protection, and they're developing the website for the government, and I'm a year ahead of schedule. We have it built to deliver.
I love it. You heard it here. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that in order to pick something up, you probably got to put something down. That is my takeaway here today. Can't thank you enough, Bill, for joining us on Monetize Your Mental Capital, and well, see you next time.
Great being here today. Thank you.